All right, let's dive into something that's, well, pretty fundamental to a huge part of the world: the concept of sin. Today, we're looking at a source that takes this ancient idea and completely turns it on its head. It's a perspective that really challenges centuries of thinking, so let's get right to it. I mean, we've all heard this, right? It's one of the most foundational beliefs for billions of people. It's the ultimate story of sacrifice, where one person pays the price to absolve everyone else. But what if that's not quite how it works? What if that's not the whole picture? And boom, there it is. Our source today just drops this bombshell right at the start. It's a statement that creates this immediate, massive tension with traditional belief. And it's that very tension that we're going to unpack today. Yeah, this quote raises a pretty unsettling question, doesn't it? If no one, not even a divine being, can take on our sin, then what's the whole point of atonement? Let's dig into the philosophy behind this really challenging idea. So the core idea here is that each of us is a fundamentally individual being. The source even describes us as individual deities. And because of that, our spiritual balance sheet, our accountability, that can't be outsourced. It can't be transferred or wiped clean by someone else. It's ours, and we're the only ones who can deal with it. Okay, so if sin isn't some kind of debt that can be paid off by a third party, then we have to ask, what is it exactly? The source says, well, we've been defining it all wrong. It wants us to move away from the idea of a moral crime and into a totally different framework. And you can see the contrast laid out pretty clearly here. The traditional view is all about breaking a divine law, right? An external rule. But this source says, no. Sin is an internal state of being. It's a kind of personal, energetic imbalance. To give this idea a name, the source calls it turbid, non-material energy. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but just think of it like muddy water. It's a cloudiness in our own essential nature. And in this view, our entire reason for being here, our whole life, is about studying and clarifying that personal energy. So this leads us to the next massive question. If sin isn't about breaking a rule, and you don't need someone to pay for it, then what on earth was the point of a sacrifice as monumental as Christ's? And this is where the purpose of sacrifice gets a radical reframing. It's not about paying some kind of cosmic debt. Instead, it's an educational event. It's a catalyst. It's designed for the intellectual and spiritual growth of everyone who sees it, who hears about it, who grapples with it. To really get this point across, the source points to the suffering of Roman slaves. It argues that if we only see them as poor, pitiful victims, we're missing the bigger lesson. Their suffering became a massive historical event, a sacrifice designed to make all future generations think, to question power, to question what it means to be human. The value isn't in the pain, it's in the lesson that comes from it. Now, let's apply this whole framework directly to the story of Jesus, because the source offers a pretty critical look at his mission and why it ended the way it did. So the analysis here is that Jesus' strategy created an us versus them dynamic. By siding with the slaves and labeling the masters as the sinners, he basically walked right into a conflict. And that conflict, that struggle, is what ultimately limited his time to just 3 short years of public life. Then the source proposes this big what if. What if there was a wiser path? What if, instead of picking a side, he'd acted as a counselor to both sides? Teach the slaves principles of self-reliance, while also advising the rulers on how to govern more wisely. The idea is that this could have built a society based on mutual respect. And maybe, just maybe, his mission could have lasted much, much longer. And this, right here, is the ultimate reframing of his legacy. According to this view, the real, staggering contribution of Jesus wasn't dying for sins. It was that his life and his death were so powerful, so provocative, that they sparked a 2,000-year-long global conversation. That ongoing debate, that was the real achievement. To really hammer this point home, the source zooms in on this one specific quote. It claims these words aren't a theological statement, but a raw human cry. It suggests this is the real man grappling with his fate, and that much of the theological framework we know was a story constructed around him by others long after he was gone. So, okay, this is a fascinating way to look at the past, but why does it matter to us, right here, right now? This is where the source connects everything back to our role today. The point is, we are in a completely unique position in all of human history. Think about it. Figures like Jesus or the Buddha, they were limited to the knowledge of their time and place. But us? we're the heirs to everything. We have the internet, we have libraries, we have access to the sum total of human knowledge, philosophy, and religion in a way no one ever has before. And with that incredible access comes an incredible new responsibility. The source says our job isn't to just pick a tradition and worship it blindly. Our job is to analyze it all, to synthesize it, to finally rise above the old, my God is better than your God arguments, and actually learn from all the sacrifices of the past to build something truly new. So the whole point is to move forward. The goal is progress, not just repetition. We honor the past not by perfectly imitating it, but by truly understanding why people believed what they did, why they acted the way they did, and then using that deep understanding to build a better, more unified future. Which leaves us with a final, pretty provocative question to chew on. A question about our own relationship with history, with belief, with everything. Are these powerful stories from our past meant to be preserved perfectly and repeated? Or are they meant to be the raw material we use to learn, to grow, and to build the next chapter for humanity? Something to think about.